So, I wanted to talk a little bit about rings, starting with the rings I got here. I had some rings from my college days that I got on my toes, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of rings in the sorcery tradition, and this is an old Chinese leather box that I got with trinkets, because dragons like to accumulate trinkets. And I got all kinds of trinkets in here. But most of the trinkets I have rings. So I got all kinds of rings from back in the day. All sorts of rings that I gathered at different festivals and gatherings and things of that nature. Rings that I accumulated, acquired at malls in the Caribbean. And so you could say that I had my little Caribbean treasure. But why? What is the point of rings? These Tibetan rings. Yeah. It's an Indian ring. This is a special ring right there. That is ruby. Star ruby. That is sapphire. Anyway, so what's the point? What's the point of these rings, right? Why? Why rings? Well, you have to go back to the sorcerers, right? Solomon was supposed to have mastered his demons to build his temple with the ring that was given to him from heaven. And they had the seal on it, the magical seal. And so every ring that I had has some kind of meaning to it. Like, this is a Lord of the Rings ring. It's written inside and out, made of tungsten. So there's that. And so I have the golden one and the blue one to represent Tom Bombadil. Because, as far as I'm concerned, he's got, in the Lord of the Rings tradition, incarnated, because, gods, if they're going to incarnate, they would do something like Tom Bombadil, right? So this one is a bespoke one, the Pirates of the Caribbean ring, made out of a lost wax method from an exact copy found at a pawn shop in LA or something like that. And the reason I got this is because I descend from pirates as well as sorcerers, and because my maternal line comes from the Canaries and the Azores and the Caribbean, so I definitely have cousins on that line that were pirates at some point. So it reminds me of the Caribbean too. And this was given to me by an old client that went to retired psychiatrist, a gay psychiatrist who went to the Dracula castle. And so this was a metal worker, a jeweler, kind of created this. And so, yeah, this one's called the Atlantis ring. It has some workings on the inside and outside. But yeah, rings have always been significant because it represents eternity, right? It's a band. It's a self-contained infinity. So when you pour your intentions into a ring, whether you do the grimoire thing or you consecrate a certain ring to a certain god or something like that, I mean, that's possible, right? Or you just get one that's already kind of pre-made, so to speak, and then you just add your layer to it. There's that too, right? But rings are deeply significant in the sense that they represent intentionality placed into a format. And they also, like copper, certain metals have certain properties. Copper, I use copper. This is a yogi ring that I got, a double-headed serpent from my college days. But the point of it example, copper is to help with arthritis so that I can move my fingers and whatnot. And tungsten is the hardest metal, so I felt like it was appropriate to use that for Lord of the Rings ring. And so, yes, silver doesn't tarnish, gold doesn't tarnish, so they represent the lunar and the solar currents. So each metal has a correspondence, planetary correspondence, vibrational correspondence. So we're getting into natural magic, and even the Mother Church never really disdained natural magic, although you can get yourself in trouble. So the powers that be were careful about how they treated that, but the idea is that the ring in and of itself is deeply significant, and then the metals which the rings are created of add layers of meaning to the ring. So rings and sorcerers go together like birds of a feather, as well as this is a different kind of ring, right? These are malas, and malas, I created malas of my own. Like this one is what I call my gazida mala, and yeah, I've been creating malas my whole life and repairing them and whatnot with the knots and all that. But this one I made out of military dog tag type of material, right? That kind of hold it together so it doesn't snap. And then I added sea beads to it, and they have their own meaning. And then different yak bones. And then you have mercury, because alchemy. So I have mercury pellets in there with some rudraksha, because the Lord of the yogis. And then I have my dad's ashes there, and some old earplugs made out of amethyst, and then the dragon seal, because I come from the order of the dragon, from dragons. So yeah, there's that. This has a bat, and then symbol of long life. So yeah, this was made by me. Probably the last mala I'll ever make after 33 years making malas. And then this was a Sita mala. The person that invited me to the Kumbh Mela, I gave him one as a thank you. But these beads come from Indonesia, Java. They're Javanese beads. But each one is a correspondence, has a different inky or face, and they all have different significance. So this is a Sita mala. This one's pre-made, but the idea is the same, right? It's about what are you about. So these are intentions in a form, a ring form, but this is a ring around my neck, and these are rings around my fingers. And each one of these, like for example, the reason why people get married and wear a ring here is to protect the heart energy current, to protect the marriage from envy. And so this right here you would use to protect your head, the current that leads to your head. So this one leads to your heart, and this one leads to your head. So this is something that was understood by the ancients, but we've become so inundated in useless information that we've largely forgot these things. But I am a phenomenologist primarily. I don't believe in anything. I need to experience things for myself. And so I have experienced the benefits of ring use and mala use and whatnot, so I use that as a matter of course. And so I would recommend that each one of you find what works for you, because everybody's going to be different. And so different rings or different malas or whatever are going to mean different things to you. And of course, there's these rings, right? I got this ring here, and then this one I recently managed to open, and just I went from 3 millimeters to 10 millimeters in just 8 days because I heal super fast. But yeah, the whole significance of rings here is pirates would use this to open up their senses, but yogis also use the kamphata, the pierced, to also open up their senses and to open up their energy channels. So all these different rings have different significances and different traditions, but it goes deep and it goes way back. It goes all the way back to the beginning. But yeah, each one of you find what works for you. And it's a lifelong process because I've been doing this for decades, right? And so I feel like I've reached a point of completion, so to speak. And so I feel like I can actually talk about these things and feel comfortable about them. So yeah, I just wanted to share that lifetime history with you and the significance of the ring for me, because Lord of the Rings is deeply significant for me because it taps deep into the unconscious, right? Tolkien was a good storyteller, and he knew how to weave a good story. And so there's, as far as a sorcerer is concerned, there's no difference between a well-crafted piece of tech or artwork, whether it's a story or a ring or a work of art or a piece of technology. It's indistinguishable from sorcery.